This is Dhirendra Gaur, and in this edition of Let Us Talk, we are going to discuss Israel and Hamas War. Who's winning? Who's losing? What are the future propositions for each other from the Israel standpoint and from Hamas standpoint? And what are the political outcomes in the region and the global level? All this we are going to discuss in this edition. Please stay with us throughout the video. Thank you. Reading the news today often leaves the impression that Israel is struggling in its war against Hamas. It's more than 10 months and a peace deal remains elusive. And also there is a threat of regional escalation which is ongoing. More than 100 hostages taken on October 7 have yet to be released, with dozens of them presumed dead. Tens of thousands of Palestinians have died and Gaza faces a dire humanitarian crisis. Critics of Israel's military strategy have argued that the devastation it has caused had increased support for Hamas and left the group stronger. According to this common perspective, Israel's prosecution of the war has served only to look in a cycle of heavily deadly violence. In the flurry of commentary, however, it is easy to lose sight of what it means to win the war Israel is fighting. A war has a start and a finish point, so its progress can be assessed based on how close each side has come to meeting its political objective when they got into this war. By this measure, Israel, not Hamas, is now holds the advantage. And why we are saying so, we are going to cover in our remaining part of this presentation. Please stay with us. So, however, Hamas has never formally stated its political objectives of the current bout of the fighting. But Hamas' overreaching goal is Israel destruction, not a more moderate outcome to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Its goal for the October 7 attack were multiple. First, to trigger a string of attacks by other militant groups on Israel. So Hamas was under the impression that followed its attacks on Israel, probably other nearby militant groups would also started firing at Israel, but that did not happen. Two, stop the process of Arab-Israeli ties normalization process and drive a wedge between Israel's and its principal ally, the United States of America. After Israel's devastating counter-assault, however, Hamas' objectives are further clearer now. They are aiming now to survive the attacks, maintain the power, and retain Palestinian and international support. In the meanwhile, Israel's military campaign has made progress on the first of its war aims, that is to release those kidnapped on October 7 last year. Israeli military action in Gaza that created the condition for Hamas to agree to release hostages during the temporary ceasefire in November 2023. Till date, Hamas holds 2 Israeli civilians and the bodies of 2 deceased Israeli soldiers that it captured in 2014 and 2015 respectively. And for the remaining October 7 hostages, there is still hope that Israel can secure their release through negotiations. That is the best possible solution would be, and it would be a win-win scenario for Israel and Hamas as well. Israel has mostly secured its southern flank too. Within days of last October's attack, it had regained control of all border crossings and the places along the wall separating Israel from Gaza that Hamas breached to enter Israel on October 7. Besides, today residents have also started to return some balance of normal life in most major urban areas in southern Israel, such as Sderot and of Kamin, cities that Hamas militant attacked on October 7, and Hamas rockets targeted those cities several times afterwards. Israel is even adding an extra layer of defense to its border with Gaza. In the past, Israel relied on just a wall at the border for the protection, but now they have went back onto their defense strategy, and they are strengthening. They are taking measures to step up the security in the Gaza wall area. Israel's forces are creating a security zone of about half a mile from the wall. They are clearing all buildings of the area, which will allow Israeli forces to more easily patrol and to step up outposts along the border. Also, the Israeli military is establishing control of a passage through the middle of the Gaza Strip, the Netzarim corridor, which connects Israel to the Mediterranean Sea. This corridor and various new humanitarian entry points and routes will allow Israeli forces to move freely and rapidly into Gaza on security missions. If Israel has to win this war, then it has to defeat Hamas on multiple grounds, on multiple fronts, such as defeating Hamas on its ideology, defeating Hamas politically, defeating Hamas militarily. So all these three fronts has to be won by Israel if Israel is seeking some permanent solution in that area. And believe me, if it succeeds, Israel can prevent Hamas from reclaiming its pre-October 7 position. Hamas authority in Gaza is much shakier today than it was on October 7. Although Hamas remains the main political power, it must now use heinous force in order to govern. Hamas militants kill civilians in Gaza, including clan and tribal leaders who challenge the group's brutal rule. The fact that residents started increasingly criticizing Hamas on social media and in comments to the international press, that is in itself is a proof that the group is losing the grip on the ground. Also, the blow that caused after the death of Ismail Haniyeh, moreover, will make it far more difficult for Hamas to maintain the international political network and financial infrastructure that has been essential to keeping the group well-resourced and oiled. It is not impossible for Hamas without having that kind of the backing. So they have to create some alternate plan, some alternate leadership in case they want to fight it out with Israel. So it is Israel, not Hamas, that now holds the advantage, as I earlier said. Also, destroying Hamas military capabilities has been an arduous task for Israel. Hamas has spent more than 15 years and billions of dollars to build a heavily armed terrorist network covering all of Gaza. More than 30,000 militants were organized into brigades and battalions, each assigned a specific geography area of control and equipped with anti-tank guns, rifles, heavy machine guns, grenades, mortars. Also, Hamas possesses between 15,000 to 20,000 rockets and had the manufacturing capabilities to produce on rockets and munition. Hamas has also built one of the longest and most expensive military tunnel networks, estimated to be more than 300 miles long, longer than New York City subway system, and range in depth from a few feet below that surface to more than 200 feet underground. It requires a lot of skill set, it requires technology, it requires resources to create that kind of the infrastructure that Hamas had been enjoying so far. And Hamas uses its tunnels network for a variety of purposes. Some help the group move freely throughout Gaza, including travel Wadi Gaza. a wetland area that separates the north and south part of this strip. Other tunnels help Hamas to carry out specific tactical maneuvers, both offensive and defensive in key areas. Having said so, Israel has made significant progress degrading these military capabilities. The Israeli military says that it has killed more than 17,000 of the estimated 30 to 40,000 Hamas militants. But the damage it has done to Hamas combat power is greater than the raw numbers suggest. Because combat power is a combination of leadership, command and control systems, trained units, weapons and equipment supplies, manufacturing capabilities, and infrastructure, among other things, which so far Hamas had been enjoying. But of late, they started losing it, and they are losing it badly now. Just to mention, Israel has destroyed 22 of Hamas' 24 organized battalions, killing 3 of 5 brigade commanders, more than 20 battalion commanders, and approximately 150 company commanders within these units had been eliminated, taking out their supplies, infrastructure, and any other necessary stuff. Maybe recall that in July, Israel conducted a strike in central Gaza that killed Mohammed Deif, the founder and head of Hamas military wing, and also who was the second in command of the organization as a whole. Hamas' third highest ranking member, Marwan Isa, was also killed few months earlier. So both these deaths had given a huge blow to the second layer of Hamas leadership that left Hamas militants unattended to a certain extent. If Israel has the advantage today, it should have the strategy to win, and how it should win, how it can win this war. So, for all the progresses Israel has made toward its war aims, however, it will lose in the end if it fails to secure a replacement of Hamas as a new ruling power in Gaza. That is the fundamental of the entire endeavor. The United knows such defeat very well. It lost in Vietnam when Vietnamese took South Vietnam in 1975. And again it lost in Afghanistan when Taliban seized power in 2021. From the government, the United States have begged for 20 years. So it is very critical for Israel not to follow American policy. It's now Israel's responsibility to create the condition that would allow new leadership in Gaza to survive. The first step is to reduce Hamas capabilities enough to let an external force enter Gaza and provide security in population centers. And whenever a new body such as Palestinian Authority or something similar takes over governance from Hamas, Israel should provide its security assistance to it, including with counter-terror operations, firepower, military setup, backup, and the role of Israeli forces should not amount to a constant presence in Gaza. So what I am trying to say is Israel should help setting up a no Hamas government in Gaza and support it, stabilize it, and then move out. That would be the right strategy for the times to come. Because as part of the strips are stabilized, the new authority can lead the post-conflict work of the de-radicalization, disarmament, demobilization, and reconciliation. By supporting this new government in Gaza, facilitating the delivery of the humanitarian aid, and making it possible to rebuild, Israel can show the Palestinian public that it is committed for a better future without Hamas for Palestinians. And that would be the real win for Israel. So, neutralizing Hamas and securing a new governing authority in Gaza may be Israel's best chance at recovering its damaged global reputation. So, Israel must show that it has a plan to reach that outcome. It is very important. Today, as we know, the world sees Israel's tactics reported through the lens of civilian casualties, as reported into the media and other places. But to win Israel needs to emphasize its strategy. It must consolidate the gains it has made against Hamas by pushing forward a political solution. I'm repeating it again. Political solution is going to define the success of this war. If Israel cannot fully remove Hamas from power and demilitarize the Strip and back a new government, new authority in the Gaza Strip, then Hamas will likely to reconstitute itself and would fight another day. With this is Dhirendra Gaur signing off. Hope you like our presentation. Please do subscribe the channel if you haven't, and do provide your feedback in the comments below. Thank you very much. Stay safe. See you soon.